All right, I'd like to start off by saying Barak Yahawah, Bahashem Yahawashi, Bahashem Rawchaa Qadash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is The Final Battle of Yasharahla. Now this morning I was listening to some epic soundtracks, and this one track came on and it was pretty intense, and it was called Final Battle. So, I decided to work, with that particular, title for the lesson for today, because earlier today, and as you brothers have been seeing and witnessing, earlier today I was watching to the, forget the title of his page, a homestead prepper or something like that. The guy that looks like, older version of Vocab Malone. Which Elder Pastor coined that. And pretty much, he was speaking about how bad things are, how bad they're going to get. You see how the prices of everything are increasing. Right now, there's talks out there about, the oil prices peaking, which means gas prices are going to go up even higher. This past week, there's this particular coconut yogurt that I eat, coconut milk yogurt, and I went to go buy it, and I got one earlier in the week, and it was a certain price. I went back either a couple of days later, and it was a whole $1 more than it was, maybe like a whole $1 more, or a whole $1.10 more than it was just earlier this week. So, those are the main indicators that shit is going to get really bad out here, and it's going to really get bad out here for Jake, because Jake doesn't have a nest egg. Jake pretty much, as a whole, we as a people are pretty much, we're under curses. So pretty much that being under these curses means that, like the scriptures say, we're going to go to this man for the one of all things. He shall lend unto us, we shall not lend unto him. And pretty much these curses would be upon us no matter where we go, generation after generation, no matter where Israelites are at, no matter what they look like, no matter what part of the earth they are. They could be in a place called paradise. If you're an Israelite, eventually you're going to catch hell somehow, some way. And what I did was I looked up the meaning. I tried to put in no buffer, but none came up. Just the word buffer came up, right? So a buffer is a thing or person that reduces a shock or protects something against difficulties. Buffer against something, support from family and friends. So pretty much it's a thing or person that reduces a shock or protects somebody or something against difficulties. And these are the things that we're heading into. We're heading into difficult times. The time of Jacob's trouble, which we're going to get that. But matter of fact, let's read that real quick, just that verse, and then take it from there, see where the Spirit leads us. I don't really have any other precepts except for that one in mind. And we'll take it from there. We'll go as long as the Spirit allows. So in the book of Jeremiah 30:7, which this hasn't happened yet. We're pretty much in the you could say somewhat of the beginning stages of this, but we're not really in it just yet, because Jake is still, out there partying, lollygagging, having a good time. We've said it before. Elder Pastor recently said it, I believe, not too long ago. He said, when we're in the time of Jacob's trouble, you're not going to have to ask, is this Jacob's trouble? Is that Jacob's trouble? Because if you're asking if we're in the time of Jacob's trouble, that means that we're not in it yet. But all the telltale signs are there. We see all of the telltale signs there. Everything, the writing is on the wall. Everything is there. You know, this inflation that you see going on is a byproduct of the constant printing and pushing in of this these Federal Reserve notes into the economic soup. You know, so you could understand, as G. Edward Griffin put it, it was like an economic soup, you know, something along those lines. And pretty much, if you make a soup, you can make the best soup out there in the world. When that soup starts running out, you know, if you are only adding water to it, eventually it's going to water the soup down. It's not going to taste as good as it did when you first started eating it, but it's still going to have the flavor in it. You know, and then when it starts going down again and you add more water, it's going to water it down and water it down to the point where when you go to scoop some of that soup out, you're not going to get any more carrots or potatoes or any meat or anything out of it. You're just going to get water. And this is pretty much what's happening right now. The economic soup is pretty much tasteless. You know, there's no substance in it. And this is why you see what seems to be rising prices, which it is, which is inflation, and soon to be hyperinflation, you know, because there is no substance there that is keeping that all together. And the one substance that they do have that is supposed to be so-called money is being devalued by the day. You know, let me see, the brother put Deuteronomy 28:18, curse shall be the fruit of thy body and the fruit of thy land. Yep. The increase of thy kind and the flocks of thy sheep. Curse shall thou be when thou comest in, and curse shall thou be when thou goest out. And that's pretty much, you know, where Jake is at with it. So when we read Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 7, it says, alas, alas, for that day is great. Because I wouldn't be surprised if when the time of Jacob's trouble comes in, it'll lead pretty much into everything else that's coming, which is, you know, the MOTB, which is the, you know, the micro C hip, and just bring in the end, you know. And the reason why I say that is because, you know, these hard times that are coming are set up pretty much for what they call a reset, you know. And that reset entails a new world order, which is a new monetary system being put in place, which we see happening right now before our faces. Not only do you have the CBDCs and these digital currencies coming into play, you also have Restrict, which is a new bill that they're passing to pretty much for censorship of the internet. They're saying it's a censorship of TikTok videos, you know, because it's a quote-unquote spyware or whatever the case may be. But it goes far beyond that, because it extends powers into monetary, you know, uses, restriction of money, restriction of free speech, you know. And then when that gets into play, if they pass it, what that's going to bring out is that's going to bring justification, or bring more teeth into this it's going to bring in more teeth into what they call a social credit system, which if you don't comply, if you say something that ain't right or ain't good or is not agreeable with them, they can penalize you. You know, like right now you have the word R to the ED pill, you know, and other words that you really can't say, you know, because they'll label you extremists or whatever the title is, or whatever they call people. But this is all geared up to be a system that's going to be online to restrict movements and to make people to comply by the force of, you know, you don't comply, you don't eat, you don't comply, you don't work, you don't comply, you don't live, you know. And that's the future that's being set up, you know. And it makes all the sense of the world, because that restriction will cause, for the most part, for most people, compliance, you know, and that's what they want. So Jeremiah 30:7, it says, alas, for that day is great, so that there is none like it. It says, it is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. And Barak Yahawah Bashem Yahawashi, because it's going to get bad out here. It's going to get hairy. But there is deliverance for the elect. You know? In America, the 2/3 of the Israelites that are not a part of the elect, they're going to be in it bad, man. It's going to be bad out here. It's going to be bad. It's going to be really, really bad, man. It's going to be really, really bad for them out here. You know, I mean, we read about it. You know, we see certain movies that depict certain things, but the severity of it, when it actually happens, it's going to be really bad. You know, it's going to be terrible. Revelation 2:10 says, let's read this real quick. Revelation 2:10, because it's going to be a great time of testing. It says, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Why? Because in order for us to get out of here, in order for us to be delivered out of Babylon the Great, all of these things have to come to pass, because it is impossible but that the scriptures must be fulfilled. You know, everything that's written has to be fulfilled before the kingdom of heaven is established. You know, everybody want to go to heaven, but nobody want to die, you know, or something like that. My man said, school face. But if we are desiring the kingdom of heaven, we have to also hasten the day. And in hastening the day, that means everything, all the bad shit that's going to go down has to happen. You know? So it says, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. The devil, which is Esau, in whatever capacity, whatever minions they have, whether they're Israelite minions or heathen minions, whatever police forces and military forces they have, shall cast some of you into prison. And why is that? Because of compliance. Not, or should I say non-compliance. But the scriptures say that those that consent unto them shall be had in derision. It says, shall be cast into prison, that you may be tried. So some of the elect will be in those situations where they will be tried. And they will come through, because somehow, some way, the Lord is going to put the spirit in them to somehow resist, even when it's impossible. You know, even in the face of impossibility, you know, the Lord is going to make a way for them to get through it. You know, no matter how hard or whatever the case may be, or how mentally distressing it is, the Lord somehow, some way is going to put the spirit in the elect to resist and to get through it. You know, it says, and shall have tribulation 10 days, a certain amount of time. It says, be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. Because for the most part, the scriptures say, my servant shall eat. You know, so you're going to have a certain amount of brothers, you know, sisters also that are going to go through that. But not all of the elect, you know, are going to die. The elect are going to make it. You know, the shit is going to be hard, but somehow, some way, the Lord is going to make a way. Because what type of mindset and what situation do you have to be in order for the world to be mourning and you to be laughing? You know, matter of fact, what is that? It's either Job or Psalms. Just bear with me 1 second. Just bear with me 1 second. Let me get this. If I can't find it, then I'll see if you brothers can post it. The scripture, I believe, is in Psalms, where it says, at destruction and famine thou shalt laugh. I thought it was Psalms 34, but it's not. Well, let me read this one while brothers, if brothers can post that up, if they know where it's at. Psalms 37 and 19. They shall not be ashamed in the evil time. This is the time of Jacob's trouble. It says, and in the days of famine, they shall be satisfied. See? In the days of famine, they shall be satisfied. So no matter what goes down, the elect, in the time of these famines, in the time of this distress, in the time of Jacob's trouble, they shall be fine. Okay, so it was in Job 5. Okay. So Job 5 and the point is in 22. So let's start at 19. Job 5 and 19. He shall deliver thee in 6 troubles, yea, in 7 there shall no evil touch you, right? Because 6 troubles, that's that hardship right there, man. And once the transition goes from the 6th trouble or the 6th angel or the 6th trumpet into the 7th, the elect have to be out of here. And that's going to be, what's going to make this thing go into the next phase. Because the 7th trumpet, that's deliverance, completion, and also destruction. But in the midst between that 6, the end of that 6 and the beginning of that 7, it's going to be nothing but chaos and turmoil all over the place. Chaos and turmoil all over the place. Just trying to, got precepts popping in my head. I'm trying to get them, but it's kind of hard to keep up. So reading on, it says, in famine he shall redeem thee from death. See? So during a time of famine, when the world is catching hell, because we suffered for the Lord's sake, the Lord said he's going to provide a way for us to make it through somehow, some way. It says, and in war from the power of the sword. You see? It says, thou shalt be hid from the scourge of the tongue, neither shalt thou be afraid of destruction when it cometh. Why? Because the elect are going to be joyful. And even when the destruction comes, the elect are going to be fearful, but they're still going to be giving praise and glory to Yahawah Bashem Yahawashi. And verse 22, it says, at destruction and famine thou shalt laugh. You see? So when the destruction and the famine comes, the elect are going to be laughing. So what kind of mindset and what kind of situation would the elect have to be in to see destruction, to see famine, to see people getting mauled down, to see people dying, but then they rejoicing and laughing and having a good time? The scriptures say, in the world you shall have tribulation, but be of good comfort, I have overcome the world. It said you shall mourn, and the world shall rejoice, but your mourning shall be turned into joy. And that's why it says, when you see these things, lift up your head, for your redemption draweth nigh. It's about the redemption. It's about being redeemed. It's about being saved. So it says, at destruction and famine thou shalt laugh, neither shalt thou be afraid of the beasts of the earth. Right? And no one should be in the mindset of, when shit happens to these devils or when shit happens to people in the world, be all sad about it. Fuck that, man. The hell with them. May they die the death of the uncircumcised. Fuck them. And I see the Lord is turning that spirit up more and more. That fuck them spirit. Because at the end of the day, the world is in the way of progress of the kingdom of heaven. And unless this world goes down, the kingdom of heaven will not be established. Wickedness has to go down. This wicked rule has to go down. Esau has to go down before the kingdom of heaven is established. Bottom line. All right? So going to Daniel 12 and 1, it says, and at that time shall Michael stand up. Because it's going to get so bad that Yahawah Bashem Yahawashi, the angels are going to have to intervene. Because the scriptures say the angels of the Lord encamp around them that fear him to deliver them. Why? Because it's going to be bad out here. See, these people think because you can get up and still go to work, you can still go to McDonald's and Burger King, and eat these lousy foods that are killing people, you know, backing people up, I mean, destroying people's health, you know, they could still go get that the gut rot liquor that you buy, thinking you're drinking good, but it's nothing but garbage in there, you know, that they're in a good case. They could still go and, you know, they could still put their credit card or their ATM card or their debit card and get gas and purchase items and all of that that they're doing good. So like I just, you know, got precepts popping in my head. I'm trying to find them, you know, that they, you know, they think that they're doing good, and they're not. Let me just bear with me 1 second. All right, beautiful. So let me get, I got that. Damn. Okay, Barak, Yahawashi now shy. Trying to keep up, man. Spirit be moving. Keep moving. All right, so 2nd Ezra 16:21. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think themselves to be in good case. So right now, Jake is thinking that, you know, they prices are going up now, but they thinking, you know, hey, well, you know, we still gonna be able to make it through, or whatever the case may be. It says, they shall think themselves to be in good case, and even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. And what is going to bring about that great confusion? The lack of things, the lack of food, you know, mainly the lack of food. People could do without, you know, with just the clothes on their back, because you see homeless people, they have pretty much the same clothes every day. They're not concerned with their appearance. They're not concerned with combing their hair. They're not concerned with brushing their teeth. You know, they're not concerned with their kicks. All they're concerned about is being able to eat and drink. But when you can't eat or drink, that's where the problem comes in. And these devils know that. This is why they, I believe that was that devil Henry Kissinger, if I'm not mistaken, you know, used food as a weapon. You know, and that's been used many times, because psychologically people could go through a lot of different traumatic experiences, you know, but one thing that they cannot do without is food and water, especially here in America. Especially here in America, where, you know, the average so-called American that's obese, you know, cannot go at least 20 minutes to a half hour without eating or drinking something. You know? So just imagine when shit is shut down. They can't eat. You know? You ain't got anything to curb, you know, here it is, you're driving in your car, you know, bags of sour cream, you know, and onion chips, you know, Funyuns and all kind of crazy other snacks you got in the car in case you get hungry on your 5-minute drive home. Oh my God, you know, it's you know, if I can't eat anything within 5 minutes, I get to the house. Lord forbid you stuck at the light 3 minutes instead of 2. They start panicking. So just imagine when they can't eat, you know, and all of those different parasites that's in them start acting up, getting hungry, and they're getting edgy and antsy. Everything is instant this and instant that, you know, and you can't eat anything. The majority of people are going to bug the fuck out. That's why it says great confusion. Yeah, Snicker and pretzels, that's right. You know, they're gonna be in confusion. They're gonna be in a desperate mind state. So it says, and this is why the Lord has to step up on behalf of the elect. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people. Why? Because there is a protection for the elect. This is why the Lord said, before we read on, let's go real quick to Revelation 7:1. And after these things, I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth. What are the 4 winds of the earth? That is the destruction. So they're holding back those 4 winds. They're allowing little things to get through because the Lord is, okay, let this through, let that through. Okay, hold up. Oh, hold it. All right. But ultimately, once the Lord removes those 4 angels, it's over. It says that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree, meaning that the destruction doesn't come. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living power. What is the seal of the living power? Well, this is the Greek word for the Hebrew word thawah, which means exemption from judgment, which is the M-A-R-K, spiritual M-A-R-K of the Most High that's being put into the elect, right? And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, right? Saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of the Most High in their foreheads. So don't do anything until the elect are sealed. All right? Certain things are going to play out. Little stuff going to happen, rumors of wars and economic crises and famine and all that. But the destruction as a whole is not going to come till all the prophecies are fulfilled and all of the elect are sealed. And then what we're waiting for right now is the prophecy of the MOTB, which is the micro C-HIP, to be fully implemented. And they're going hard. Within the last 3 years, they've cemented and put a whole bunch of stuff in place. They got the infrastructure in place. They had all the crises that they created to bring about disorder, to bring about panic, to bring about, you know, restrictions. So now we're just waiting for the right moment when they flip the switch on, so to speak. So let's go back to Daniel 12:1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. You know what? Let's look up this word trouble in the Hebrew, and then let's look up the word trouble why I do that? Time of trouble right there, boom. The word there is tazarah. Now the word tazarah is fear. Tazarah, straits, position of difficulty. Did not we read for the word buffer or no buffer, right? Not Michael Buffer, where it says, come on, where it says buffer, a thing or person that reduces a shock or protects something or somebody against difficulties. So the word troubles that we just read said tazarah, straits, distress, trouble, vexer. You know, it says rival wife, that's going into something else, but we're talking about straits, distress, trouble. Let's look up the word trouble in the common, or the, I got an offline common dictionary. Let's see what it says for trouble. Come on, stop stalling. All right, trouble. Oh boy, trouble. Houston, we have a problem. Trouble, a source of difficulty. That's all we got to read. Don't have to read nothing else. Then it says an angry disturbance, an event causing distress or pain, an effort that is inconvenient, a strong feeling of anxiety. And the synonyms is worry. Hypernyms are anxiety. Because you have worry when somebody's worried, but then you have anxiety when they're deeply worried. You know, and there's going to be so much out here going on that it's going to cause straight up, you know, it's going to cause straight up distress. It's going to cause a desperate mind state, because these people are not going to know what the hell to do, especially when that famine start licking them down. So let's read that again in Daniel 12. It says, and at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. Basically, the elect are the ones that's going to be delivered, because in America, 2/3 of Jake, they're going to be, you know, they've pretty much been numbered to that. Let's get that precept now. They've been numbered for that purpose, for that reason. This is why you don't need to be breaking your back, you know, and bending over backwards to try to make somebody, a Jake out there, get it. If they can't get it, forget it. Why? Because you're embarking on an impossible mission. You know, you're embarking on an impossible mission. Because if the Lord blinded any Israelite out there, you're not gonna, you don't have the magic bullet, the silver bullet to get to them. But some of you guys think you do. Some of you guys out there think that you have the silver magic bullet, you know, to get into Jake's head and to convince them and to make them think and accept the truth. Look, if the Lord didn't open up their mind, they're not going to get it. I don't give a damn how beautifully you break it down. You could stand on your head. You could do air tracks. You could do, you know, the 1999, which is spinning on your hand straight up. I believe that's the term they call it. You could up rock. You could do all kind of different dances. You could be the most charismatic and the most well-spoken person out there. If they're not meant to get it, you're wasting your time. They're not going to get it. But some of you guys out there, you just think that you're smarter than the Most High. You think that, yeah, I know the Lord said that, but nah, I'm going to convince them. You're wasting your time, man. You're wasting your time. All right, so let's go to Isaiah 65, because you got to remember, when somebody has been numbered to the slaughter, it's over. When somebody has been blinded, there's nothing you could do. When we were in the world, we were blind. It was nothing that we could do until the Lord removed the blinders from us. And unless the Lord does that, then there's no hope for that person. The only hope a person out there that can't see right now could have is if they are part of the elect, and eventually the Lord activates them, you know, and wakes them up to the truth. That's it. So Isaiah 65, and we're going to go to, I'll start at 8. The point is a little further down. So it says, thus saith the Lord, as the new wine is found in the cluster, and one saith, destroy it not, for a blessing is in it, so will I do for my servant's sake, that I may not destroy them all. Because the Lord already has a certain number, 2/3 in America, not in the world. The 2/3 and the 1/3 part in Zechariah 13 only applies to America. You know, and there are other Israelites around the world that are numbered to the sword also. But dealing with America itself, only the 2/3 and the 1/3 only apply here. So you could understand. It says, and I will bring forth a seed out of Jacob, and out of Judah an inheritor of my mountain, and mine elect elect. Not all Israelites are part of the elect. Yes, all Israelites are the elect nation of the Heavenly Father. But all Israelites are not a part of the election that will be saved. They're not part of the first resurrection. It says, mine elect shall inherit it, and my servants shall dwell there. My servants. The Lord said his servants. Because you have kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation which shall come upon all the world to try them that are upon the earth. And Sharon shall be a fold of flocks, and the valley of Achor a place for herds to lie down in, for my people that have sought me. Right, because eventually the kingdom of heaven is going to be established. All of those different forests, you know, and everything is going to be reinvigorated, reassimilated, and about to be relocated. Inside joke, but it's true. Everything is going to be refreshed, renewed. The new heavens and the new earth are the refreshed heaven and the refreshed earth under new management. It says, and for my people, I'm sorry, in the valley of Achor, a place for the herds to lie down in, for my people that have sought me. And the people of the Lord that have sought him, the reason why they sought him was because he drew them to seek him. All right? Those are the elect that will be established on the earth. It says, but ye are they that forsake the Lord. This is talking about the Israelites out there that forsake the Lord, that are not seeking his wisdom, that are not seeking his mercy, that are coming up another way, that are not giving heed to the prophets of the Lord out there teaching and letting them know that bad times are coming. It says, that forget my holy mountain. Right, and you have even some that even throw the whole Israelite thing out the window. It says that prepare a table for that troop. Who is the troop? Esau. What is this table? Everything that Esau stands for. Their Renaissance Christianity, their American dream, their political system and arena, you know, trying to become economically viable in this society so you can, you know, live the so-called American dream. That prepare a table for that troop, and that furnish the drink offering unto that number. So what does it mean by furnish the drink offering unto that number? Meaning some of you out there are leaders among Jake, whether in the political arena, whether, you know, you're mayors or governors, whether you're preachers, pastors, ministers in these different churches, you know, whether you're a community activist, you know, whether you're into the so-called black conscious community or whatever the case may be, you know, trying to keep this place going, you know, especially those that are pushing Esau's agenda. You know, you're furnishing or putting together the drink offering to that number. You're making them drink of the cup that's going to destroy them with the promise of, you know, helping them. And you're not helping them, you're destroying them. Because you're not letting them know that, look, this place is finished. It's going to be destroyed. Can't you see the writing on the wall? Can't you see the things that are happening? Can't you see that this place is ripe for destruction? This place claims to be a God-fearing nation, but everything that they do is contrary to the Lord. Right? It says, therefore will I number you to the sword. So there's a certain amount of Israelites that are numbered to the sword. In America, it's 2/3. And 2/3 in comparison to 1/3 is a way bigger number. So double the Israelites in America will be destroyed, and only 1/3 will be delivered. And you shall all bow down to the slaughter. There's not going to be anything that you could do to get out of this. You're going to bow down to the slaughter. It says, because when I called, you did not answer. You see? So when the Lord called, you didn't pick up the phone. You didn't answer. You know, you left it unanswered. Here it is. The Lord is extending his hand out to pull you out of the fire. You keep pushing the Lord's hand away. He'll throw you a rope. You keep pushing the rope away. He'll build steps to get out of that ditch. You know, you kick the steps over. It says, when I spake, you did not hear. Right, because this is why Yahawashi said, I don't know how many times Yahawashi said this. He that hath ears to hear, let him hear. Everybody has ears upon their head. What that's talking about is spiritually understand, you know, what's being said, what's going on. It says, but did evil before mine eyes, and did choose that wherein I delighted not. Right, because a lot of you are choosing, you know, Esau's program over the Most High. Some of you are, you know, doing pretty good, and you don't want to give that up. Remember Lot's wife. Remember Lot's wife. Remember. Therefore, thus saith the Lord power, behold, my servants shall eat. See, the Lord's servants shall eat. They will be protected. Tested, yes, but protected, nevertheless. It says, but you shall be hungry. See, but the ones that are not the servants, they're going to be hungry. Behold, my servants shall drink, but you shall be thirsty. And we kind of see even clearer now how these things are going to go down. Because in Revelation 6, it speaks about, you know, a measure of wheat for a penny. See, back then you're thinking, oh, well, you know, that's not bad. You know, a penny ain't nothing. But when you have the context of the scriptures, it's talking about a day's wage. Can you imagine paying a day's wage for one meal? And most people around the world, in certain places of the world, some people only survive off of one meal a day. So can you imagine paying a whole day's pay for one meal? So if you're making $100, you got to pay $100 for that one meal. And you know that meal is going to be skimpy. You know, if you're making $150 a day, paying $150 for one meal, $200 for one meal. So can you see it, why it's going to get really bad out here, the time of Jacob's trouble? And then that flood, you know, of troops from Esau that's going to come in to enforce, you know, all this legislation that they're putting on the books worldwide. This is why it's going to be a worldwide event. New world order, not new country order, not new town order, not new continent order, you know. New world order, order of the ages, because they're trying to usher in the future, you know. And that future, or any new world order, whenever it's established first monetarily through economics. And every time the world went from one currency to another, guess what? That was a new start. That was a reset. That was a new world order. Somebody said $100 for a GMO hot plate. That was a good one. That was a good one. It says, therefore, thus saith the Lord, power. Behold, my servant shall eat, but you shall be hungry. Behold, my servant shall drink, but you shall be thirsty. Behold, my servant shall rejoice, but you shall be ashamed. You know? And a lot of you that are acting up in the kingdom of heaven, you're going to be ashamed for a while. But eventually that's going to subside. You know, you'll be all right if you're an Israelite, you know. But the thing is, you know, this is all the plans of Yahawah B'Shem Yahawashi. Behold, my servant shall sing for joy of heart, but you shall cry for sorrow of heart, and shall howl for vexation of spirit. God damn, it's going to be bad out here. You people out there have no clue, man. And the Lord is warning you over and over again. You have no clue of how bad it's going to really get out here, man. Let's look up the word. Look up two words. Matter of fact, let me see. There's a precept here. And that's verse 14. Breaking. Vexation, breaking. It's good. People are going to get to their breaking point. It might be the word shabar, but let's find out. Okay, let's go. Let's see, Isaiah 65 and 14. Isaiah 65, let's see, Isaiah 65 and 14. Let's see. Howl. The word howl is yalal. It says to howl, wail, make a howling, right? So people are going to be in pain, howling for pain, hunger pain, you know, distress, agony, misery, and the word vexation. The word there, yep, shabar, breaking, fracture, crushing, breach, crash, ruin, shattering. Man, you don't know the terrible power, you know, that Yahawah has to humble somebody. You know? And you don't even have to use much force. You know? Nebuchadnezzar thought he was popping off pretty much, feeling himself. And what happened? The Lord brought the Hulk smash on his ass. You know? Humbled him. And quickly he quickly came to his senses. No pun intended. Because he was out of his fucking mind like a beast. And he finally came to his senses and gave the praise to the Lord Yahawah. So here it is, this king, which was a luxurious king, you know, was totally humiliated by the Most High. And it's not us here on this earth, you know, that are in, you know, pretty much at such a low state that the Lord can't humble. You know, you people out there, man, that are proud, you women, oh, forget about it. Women are going to be they're going to be in a world of hurt, you know? Because all you do is scheme on men, how to get over on them, how to get their money, how to, you know, make your purse fat and make them suffer. Like that stupid bitch that thought she had, you know, she had a kind of a sucker, but not really, because he was smart. Even though the scriptures say not to give your woman or your children or nobody power over you, and by his mother controlling the money, she got power over him. But in doing that, he was able to circumvent having to pay that skis or anything. And you can see he was all in love with the woman, and she, you know, she was really not. She was into him because she had a motive and a plan. And women are great actresses. Why don't they call you actresses? You know, asses, to symbolize, you know, inside joke, you know. But unbeknownst to her, my man ain't got a dime in his name, you know. So I say kudos to him for that. But anyways, going back to Isaiah 65, it says, and you shall, 15 now, and you shall leave your name for a curse unto my chosen, for the Lord power shall slay thee, and call his servants by another name. So we get the picture. So Jeremiah 30 and 7, let's read 7 again. It says, alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even a time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Barak Yahawah for that. You know, because it's going to get bad out here, but the elect are going to be all right. You know, it's going to get very trying out here, but there's going to be some type of spiritual intervention. How the Lord's going to do it, we don't know. We could only speculate. You know, we could only, you know, with our imaginations, we could only think of how it can be or how it will be, but only the Lord knows how it's going to be and how he's going to deliver. The Lord's will we be the elect, deliver us in that day. From all the perils and pitfalls and trials and tribulations that are coming, all the tests, all the way unto the end, to the final deliverance of salvation, going up into the chariots, you know, while the destruction of this place is going up in smoke, up in smoke. Let's see. Oh, Elder, it said that the actress has to play the soccer player his court fees. Ooh, and since she making more than him, since he don't have anything in his name, she has to pay him half of her. Ooh! Barak, Yahawashi. That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. You know, hey, man, finally, a hoe gets her due. You know? Finally. Because usually these fucking women run circles on these men. Make these men look stupid. Get over on these men. But the Lord finally got that fucking hoe, you know? And that's just, you know what? That hoe right there, that has to pay him now and pay his fees and all that, that hoe right there, that is the prime example of the future of these hoes. You know? Here in America and around the world. This is a prime example of what's coming for these hoes out here. You know? Hey, that's a beautiful thing, man. Barakatah Yahawashi for that, man. That's good news, man. Finally, a hoe don't get over. Finally, a hoe gets her just desserts, her just due. You know? Because you women are going to pay. Rise up, you women that are at ease. You've been running games and, you know, on these men for a long time, Tony. But now it's time to pay. Now, you know, it's time for you to reap what you sow. And you women have been benefiting in this society for a long time. And guess what? Now it's time to pay the piper. Rise up, you women that are at ease, for the vintage shall fail. You know, you're not going to be able to continue to run these games like you have been in the past. So with that, you know, I pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. The water for tuning in. The water to you brothers for all the precepts you put up. Salaki, I didn't get a chance to read more of them, you know, but Lord's will, you were edified. Till the next time I say shalom to the elect.